For decades, the Ferrari Testarossa has been one of the most iconic supercars ever made. Even people who are not car enthusiasts recognize it. The wide body, the dramatic side strakes, the appearance in Miami Vice, and that unmistakable Ferrari presence turned it into a genuine automotive legend. It was not just another fast car. It became a symbol of an entire era. That is why Ferrari's latest move has caught so much attention. After years of speculation and trademark battles, Ferrari has officially brought back the Testarossa name. And no, it is not a retro throwback designed to look like the original. Instead, Ferrari has attached one of the most famous names in automotive history to an all-new hybrid flagship that pushes the company's performance technology further than ever before. The new Ferrari 849 Testarossa arrives with a huge responsibility. Whenever a manufacturer revives an iconic name, expectations immediately go through the roof. Fans expect something special. They expect something worthy of the badge. And in Ferrari's case, they know that simply relying on nostalgia is not enough. To understand why this announcement matters so much, we need to look back at where the Testarossa story began. When Ferrari launched the original Testarossa in 1984, it instantly stood out from everything else on the road. Powered by a flat 12 engine and wrapped in one of the most distinctive designs ever created, it became one of Ferrari's biggest success stories. Nearly 10,000 cars were built across the Testarossa family, making it one of the company's most successful models. For many enthusiasts, the Testarossa represents the golden age of Ferrari. It was bold, dramatic, and unapologetically excessive. Even today, original examples remain highly desirable among collectors, and the name still carries enormous emotional value. That emotional connection is exactly why Ferrari had to be careful with this revival. When reports first surfaced that Ferrari was protecting and reclaiming rights to the Testarossa trademark, many people assumed it was simply a legal move. Others hoped it meant the famous name would eventually return to production. As it turns out, Ferrari had much bigger plans than anyone expected. The company decided that its next-generation flagship deserved a name that carried genuine history. Rather than creating a completely new badge, Ferrari chose to reconnect with one of its most celebrated models. The result is the 849 Testarossa, a car that aims to combine Ferrari's heritage with its most advanced technology. And make no mistake, this thing is a technological powerhouse. Under the body sits a heavily upgraded twin turbocharged V8 working alongside 3 electric motors. Together, the system produces a staggering 1,036 horsepower. That makes it the most powerful series production Ferrari ever built. The numbers alone are enough to grab attention. But Ferrari insists this car is not just about producing bigger figures than its rivals. 2 electric motors power the front axle, while another works with the V8 at the rear. This setup delivers all-wheel drive, instant torque, and astonishing traction when launching from a standstill. Ferrari claims a 0 to 100 km/h time of around 2.3 seconds. That's hypercar territory. What is interesting is that Ferrari did not simply chase maximum power. Engineers spent significant time improving how the car feels from behind the wheel. One criticism sometimes aimed at the SF90 was that, while it was incredibly fast, it could feel slightly detached compared to some of Ferrari's greatest driver-focused cars. According to Ferrari, that feedback played a major role during development of the new Testarossa. The company wanted a flagship that was not just quicker than the SF90, but also more engaging, more emotional, and more rewarding to drive. The V8 itself has received major revisions. Ferrari upgraded internal components, improved cooling systems, and optimized the turbochargers. Lessons learned from motorsport and previous hybrid programs were incorporated into the development process. The goal was to create a powertrain that delivers explosive performance without sacrificing responsiveness. The aerodynamics have also taken a significant step forward. Ferrari says the car generates substantially more downforce than its predecessor, thanks to an advanced combination of active aerodynamic systems and a heavily optimized body design. Every surface has been engineered to improve airflow, cooling, and stability at high speed. Inside the cabin, Ferrari addressed another area where customers had voiced concerns. Recent Ferrari models moved heavily toward touch-sensitive controls, and not every owner was happy about that. The new Testarossa brings back a greater emphasis on physical controls, creating a more intuitive and driver-focused experience. This might sound like a small detail, but for people spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a supercar, the way the controls feel can make a huge difference. Ferrari appears to have listened carefully to feedback and adjusted accordingly. What makes the new Testarossa particularly important is its position within Ferrari's lineup. This is not a limited production halo car designed purely for collectors. It's Ferrari's new flagship production supercar, effectively taking over the role previously occupied by the SF90. That means it represents the direction Ferrari believes performance cars should be heading, and that brings us to an interesting reality. The supercar market has changed dramatically over the last few years. Hybrid technology is no longer an experimental feature. It is becoming the standard at the highest levels of performance. The Lamborghini Revuelto combines a naturally aspirated V12 with electric motors. Aston Martin has the Valhalla. McLaren continues developing increasingly sophisticated hybrid systems. The race for performance has entered a new phase, and electrification is now a major part of the formula. Ferrari understands that some enthusiasts still miss the simplicity of older supercars. There are people who hear the word hybrid and immediately worry that driving excitement will be lost. That is why the company has repeatedly emphasized that the new Testarossa was designed around emotional engagement, not just efficiency or acceleration numbers. Early reviews suggest Ferrari may have succeeded. Journalists who have driven the car frequently mention that it feels more alive and more involving than the SF90. Of course, driving impressions are subjective, and different people will have different opinions. But the initial reaction has been very positive. At the same time, it's important to set realistic expectations. Anyone hoping for a modern version of the original 1980s Testarossa may be surprised. Ferrari deliberately avoided creating a retro design. There are no pop-up headlights, no giant side strakes, and no attempt to recreate the old car's appearance. Instead, Ferrari chose to honor the name through performance and significance rather than styling. Whether that's the right decision will depend on personal taste. Some enthusiasts appreciate the forward-looking approach, while others would have loved to see stronger visual links to the original. Either way, one thing is clear. Ferrari knew exactly how much attention this name would attract. The company understood the expectations attached to the Testarossa badge and made a conscious decision to use it on one of the most advanced road cars it has ever produced. Bringing back a legendary name is always risky. If the product disappoints, the backlash can be severe. But if it succeeds, it creates a bridge between a company's history and its future. The new Ferrari 849 Testarossa appears to be Ferrari's attempt to do exactly that. It combines more than 1,000 horsepower, cutting-edge hybrid technology, and hypercar-level performance with one of the most famous names in automotive history. Whether you're a fan of modern supercars or someone who grew up admiring the original Testarossa, this is a car that deserves attention. Not because it's trying to recreate the past, but because it's showing where Ferrari believes the future is heading. And judging by the reaction so far, the return of the Testarossa has already achieved one thing. The entire automotive world is watching.